Hey everyone, as always it is Andrew from MAO Magic and I'm here with the Ecobee3 Smart Thermostat. Now the really important thing is this works with Apple's HomeKit, which a lot of devices we've been featuring lately do. Obviously this will work with Android, no problem, but we will look specifically at the HomeKit stuff towards the end. Now, as far as what this does, it basically replaces your thermostat in your house. Its biggest competitor is probably going to be the Nest or the one from iDevices. iDevices is going to be about $150, coming in on the low end, whereas the Ecobee3 and the Nest are each going to sit around $250. Now, what's cool about the Ecobee3 compared to the Nest is one, it has the HomeKit capabilities, but it also has these remote sensors, which we're going to look at as well. Those are kind of cool because it gives you the temperature, not just in that main room where your thermostat is. Aside from the thermostat and the sensor on top, you're also going to get this little stand, which I will drop haphazardly. Luckily, it's just made of plastic, and that'll allow you to stick your little sensor maybe on a shelf if you're not going to mount it directly to a wall. Then you're going to have a extra power cable that allows you to wire this directly to your furnace if you would need to. And then we have a whole bunch of mounting screws, as you can see here. Underneath all of this, you will also have a different mounting plate as well as some instruction guides. Now, the mounting plate is very large. I'm surprised how big it is, but basically this is similar to the one that Nest includes. Nest obviously is square, where this one's going to be round. So if you do have some holes in the wall, you don't really see like you need to fill them up, you can simply use this larger mounting plate instead, and it'll cover all that area for you. Now, the thermostat will come apart into two different pieces. The back panel here, which has a little green piece of cardboard, and then the front part, which is actually all the brains of the operation. You can see here we do have a level, which is nice. The Nest also has a level, so you can put this on nice and straight. And this middle part here actually comes out. This is where all the wires are going to hook into. So they will come through this hole in the back, and they will plug into all of those sockets on the left-hand right side, and they are all labeled accordingly. It is always good to take a photo before installing any thermostat. So we're going to go from a Nest in this situation to this one, so we're going to take a nice photo beforehand. But we are going to switch mounting plates. This one's going to be a little bit too small, so we're going to remove that mounting plate with that little switch there, and we're going to bring in our larger mounting plate. You can simply put in the right-hand side and then clip it down on the left, and it'll snap right into place. Regardless of which mounting plate you are going to use, these screws will still be in that connected back panel. So no matter what you use on the outside, they will still go through the same holes. If we look at the actual Ecobee thermostat itself, on the front we have our touchscreen and all this kind of black exterior. On the back of the device, it is white and it matches the mounting plate there. And there's these little pins that are going to slip right into where all those wires are connected. This is not as elegant, I guess, as the Nest is. The Nest is a little bit cleaner, looks a little bit better, and is a little bit simpler to install, but it's not bad by any means. Obviously, the Nest has the metal around the outside, and what's nice about the metal is it kind of reflects your wall color. Here, you're stuck with black, and you're stuck with white. So if it doesn't match your wall color, it could contrast a little bit, but it's not too big of a deal. So as far as installation goes, we're simply going to put in our two screws if you want to use the drywall screws, however you want to mount this, and they do have quotes for professional installation on their website, but it's not too big of a deal. So we're just going to shut off our power to our furnace from the circuit breaker, and we're going to go ahead and line up all of our wires. You do want to make sure they are in there securely, so simply push in and then push it in all the way, kind of tug on a little bit to make sure it doesn't come out. You do need the wires all securely connected, and once they're all in place, you can go ahead and push your thermostat right over top and it'll click into place and start to power on. You should see a nice Ecobee logo right on the front. Now we basically walk through the setup process. It is a bit long, especially compared to other smart thermostats out there, and I don't really blame it. There is a lot of things to get right, and there is a lot of variation in different home thermostats, but there is quite a few different steps to go through. You will give it some basic information, like what mode do you want it on, what are your temperatures that you like, what's your location. You can add it onto your network, so we're going to go ahead and use our Ecobee app to get our new thermostat onto the network, which will allow you to control it remotely, as well as get some other internet information such as the local weather. You can turn on things like that Home IQ and sign up for an Ecobee account. If you're going to turn on Home IQ, you're going to need to give it a little bit information, such as what kind of building it is, so an apartment, when was it built, how many floors, you have basement, garage, everything like that. And that's basically it. You can see the temperature of our thermostat, 67, and all these animations basically look like they do on the front of the thermostat itself. Now, one thing that has been a little bit of a pain is if I kind of go in and I adjust the thermostat, it's going to say, okay, it's now 67 and holding. It's going to leave your schedule that you set and simply go to that. And there's no simple, easy way to go back to the schedule. Unfortunately, it kind of works in reverse as well on the Nest. If you change it away from your schedule, the next time something happens, it immediately just jumps back. So you have to keep going up there and changing it back to what you want it to be if you want it different than what you have it scheduled as. Once you have your thermostat connected to the network, you're going to answer a little bit more information, such as the date and time. It's going to get you a registration code, and that's what you're going to put into the app to connect them together. Now we're going to go ahead and look at some of the HomeKit configurations. So we're going to go down here, we're going to look at this Manage HomeKit configuration, and within the Ecobee or Ecobee app, I can go ahead and put this thermostat into a room. So for instance, this is going to be inside of the living room, and I can go all the way back out here, and that's kind of what you're limited to. You can put it into a room and you can control with your voice. However, once we actually do that, you will get the HomeKit code to display on your thermostat. It is not included in the box like most other accessories, so you just scan that with your phone, or you can manually enter it in, and there you go. It is all added to HomeKit. Now we are here in the Home app. We've done a review of this separately, but you can see we have this home thermostat here on the top and a lot of settings inside. I can see the current cooling state. I can let it know if it should be heating, cooling, or off. I can see the current temperature. I can change the target temperature. I can change the units that it's going to display in. And I can do all that with my voice as well. So I can simply say, can you make it a little bit warmer in here? A little bit cooler? Can you turn the air off? Can you let me know what the temperature is? All of those things you can do with your voice, and that's really neat. And you can put those into scenes in a HomeKit application such as this. So I could put this into the living room. I could change the temperature in the living room, or I could do even more fun things. I can say stuff like, "Good night, Siri," and when Siri turns everything off, it'll lock my door, turn off my lights, dim the ones in the bathroom, and it can set the thermostat to a nighttime temperature of 69 degrees. Now, if we're going to look at the thermostat one more time, we can see a couple different settings here. We can even see those sensors, and the sensors are kind of cool because you can put those sensors in different rooms. Now, a lot of the time, thermostats are going to be inside something like a hallway, and it's not a good, accurate gauge of temperature, nor are there actually people in the hallway. So you can put these sensors in the rooms, and then it'll actually detect whether or not people are there, as well as what the temperature is in that room, and it'll send that information back to the main thermostat. One sensor is included with your main Ecobee or Ecobee thermostat, and it looks something like this. You can simply mount it onto a wall if you'd like, or just set it somewhere out of the way, and they have this little stand. The back plate of the thermostat or the sensor will come off, and it'll simply attach to it, and you can throw it on a bookshelf. Basically, you want it somewhere about head level or chest level, and somewhere where it's going to make sure that it notices people are in there, and it's going to get a good gauge of the temperature. So something like a bookshelf would work really well. And you can pick up more thermostats or more of these sensors if you're interested. Now we break it down between the pros and the cons. Pros, and for me especially, HomeKit is huge. Being able to control everything from my voice. If you don't have something like an Amazon Echo and a Nest, this is fantastic. It also has a touchscreen, which I do prefer to the wheel kind of motion of the Nest. It can be a little bit knacky to do with the Nest, so I like the touchscreen a lot better. And it has stuff like local weather. It'll let me know if it's raining or chance of rain, and I can see in the morning what it's going to be like without actually having to check my phone like I normally would. Now you can get those remote sensors, which is also very nice because they give you a better gauge of temperature as well as whether or not people are home. Nest does this similarly using the Nest Protect smoke detectors, but those are really expensive and you don't really need to get smoke detectors for every room in your house when you already have them. It also has geofencing, which is kind of a feature of HomeKit. So when you arrive or leave, it can set different scenes and change the thermostat appropriately. And it has an Apple Watch app, which I know the Nest does not, which you have to use kind of like a third-party option to do. But they do have an Apple Watch app, so you can change it all. If you don't use your voice, you can do it on your watch. Now, while our list of pros is long, we do have a small list of cons, and the first one, it's made of plastic. Compared to the Nest, which is metal and glass and looks very premium, this doesn't not look premium, but it is made out of plastic comparatively. The installation is a little bit more difficult, I guess you could say, than the Nest. Then both of them are very easy, and they both do offer professional installation, but it is a little bit more in-depth than the Nest would be. Sensors can be a little bit pricey if you're going to put those in every single room of your house, so those could add up. And the screen resolution is not quite up to par. There's nothing wrong with it, it looks fine, and that's basically what you'd expect from a device like this, but I do wish it would be a bit higher. Now, if you're looking to pick one of these up for yourself, you can find the link in the description below. Please give a like to this video if you liked it, or add any questions below if you have any, and I will get back to you right away. Go ahead and subscribe, and I keep videos like this coming. Other than that, add MAO Magic to your Apple newsfeed and check out our website, maomagic.com, and I'll see you next time.